The Gospel of Mark isn't like the other three Gospels. It's short and terse. It doesn't mess around with poetry or with trying to tell a beautiful story. Mark is focused on action, and the action in Mark goes by so fast it almost feels hard to process. But maybe that was the whole point. In Mark, you don't find the story of Jesus' birth. Mark blasts right off the starting blocks with grown-up Jesus getting baptized. That's because to Mark, the sign that Jesus was the Messiah didn't come at Jesus' birth. It came at the baptism, when God's voice was heard to declare, "This is my beloved Son." After the baptism, it's on to the temptation in the wilderness, followed by Jesus recruiting his disciples. And that's all within the first chapter. But it makes sense that the disciples show up so early in Mark. That's because Mark is all about discipleship. In Mark, we see a lot through the disciples' eyes. We witness Jesus feeding the multitudes twice. We see Jesus stilling a storm and the disciples' awe and fear. They ask each other, "What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" This is a pretty common response for Jesus' crew of 12. In Mark, discipleship is challenging and sometimes overwhelming. The disciples aren't always sure how to process everything they're seeing, and so they sometimes come across as fearful and weak. The disciples regularly struggle to believe, even after witnessing Jesus' remarkable acts, like walking on the water and raising Jairus' daughter from the dead. In Mark, discipleship means questioning, stumbling, and learning. It also means discovering how to be faithful in spite of persecution. Actually, that's the cool thing about Mark. It isn't just about the experience of discipleship. It's a how-to be a disciple yourself. The power of Mark is that it brings you right into the action of Jesus' ministry and lets you feel some of what the disciples felt. But it doesn't leave you there. Mark also reassures present-day disciples that disbelief can change to faith and then to understanding.